In this video, what we're going to do is look at graphs of piecewise functions and figure out what is the function's equation from that particular graph. So in order to match these, what I'm going to do is actually start with a graph because I think it's a little easier. So let's look at A. So A, we have a piecewise function. We have this portion is linear, and then this piece is also linear. So if we notice where it starts and stops, I guess, depending on which piece we're talking about, that's at 1. So let's look at our answer choices. Okay, it could either be 1 because it starts and stops at 1. It could be 5 because it starts and stops at 1, and it could be 6. All right, we can then kind of look closer at the two functions. This one is a linear function. This is a constant function. So linear, this is not a constant. This is also a linear, so it cannot be 1. All right, so let's look at number 5. Linear, linear. So because the second one is not constant, can't be that one. It must be 6. So 6 is the correct answer for A. So I'm going to put A beside number 6 because we have a constant and a linear starting and stopping at 1. Now we could look at more specific features of those, like this is negative linear function, so it's going down. This is indeed at -5. This is an open circle as it should be, and then this is a closed circle as it should be. All right, so we did that one. Let's look at B. So for B, we have two linear functions, and where it changes is at that value of x equals 0, right? So it's either going to be 3 or 2. So both of those are linear functions. So let's just kind of see which linear function should be correct. This one, if we notice, both of the linear functions have a y-intercept of 4. 2 has the first piece has a y-intercept of 3, and the second piece of the piecewise function has a y-intercept of 4. But because these both have y-intercepts of 4, B must be number 3. All right, let's look at C. First, let's figure out where it starts or stops, and in this case, it is -1. So it's either going to be just 4. All right, so that's it. Because this is the only one where it starts and stops at -1. So we can kind of like look further to that, see how -5 is here, where x is less than -1, and that's a constant function. And we have our linear over here. It's a positive slope. So that matches there. Let's look at D. So notice where it starts or stops, the domain is at x equals 1. That's the changeover. And so it's either got to be number 1 or number 5. So now let's look specific to those functions. They both have two linear functions. So the first function, or the one where x is less than 1, it should be positive, a positive value. So where x is less than 1, less than or equal to, there is x less than or equal to 1. There's also a positive slope here. The next thing we can look at is maybe the y-intercept, or where it transformed up or down. So this one went down 4. Well, if you notice, this only went down 2. So D must match with number 5. All right, we have 2 more to do. The next one, E, if we look, it changes over from one piece to another at x equals 1. So the only one left would be 1. So this must be E. And then lastly, for F, it changes over at x equals 0. X equals 0. And there are two linear functions. The first one, open circle. Second one, closed circle. And so this must be F. Actually, I want to comment on something I just said. I said the first one and the second one. They're not listed in that order. X is less than 0 is listed secondly, which is fine. So this first graph actually matches with the x plus 4 piece. Just wanted to make that clear.